I told my wife and the kids I don't ever want to see or hear any of you get on a plane and go to South Africa.
I want to hear you say thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Thank you, President.
Thank you for what?
Thank you for what?
Malawi's government has steadily taken their people home. Zimbabweans are steadily taking their people home. Mozambicans are steadily taking their people home. Our people are asked to leave their homes and come here to be lifted.
I want to hear you say thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President.
We see the good thing you're doing.
We see the good thing you are doing.
And we are just pleading to fast track it.
And we're just pleading to fast track it.
Now that is a valid message.
I tell Mr. President, thank you.
Thank you, President.
Thank you for what?
Thank you for what?
Malawi's government has steadily taken their people home. Zimbabweans are steadily taking their people home. Mozambicans are steadily taking their people home. Our people are asked to leave their homes and come here to be lifted. They sold the little things they have. Their house rent here is monthly. It's not like Nigeria where you pay yearly. They pay house rent here monthly. And so people have told their landlord, bye-bye, I'm not renewing my rent. And they have moved, only to be stranded here. And then you are telling us to thank the government of Nigeria. Why would we thank Mr. Tinubu?
Thank you, President. For what?
For what? They ask people to come out. Even if you have not asked Nigerians to come out, we will find our way.
Yeah.
But you ask us to come out on winter, women and children on winter, and they are here stranded. And the politicians are there in Nigeria, arguing and satisfying themselves. And these people are left here with no hope. And you are telling us to tell Mr. President, thank you. What are we thanking you for? We sent you to go and do the job there. And if you feel that you can't do the job, resign. So that somebody who can do the job will fix Nigeria.
Yeah.
A small country like South Africa is holding us ransom because our government does not know what they want. So if Tinubu cannot fix Nigeria, which we have seen, he can't fix Nigeria at home. He cannot help Nigeria in the diaspora. So why do we say we have a government? Then he should resign and allow people who can be able to, because he begged to apply. He said, please elect me and I'm going to save Nigeria. You are elected and you are doing nothing.
Nothing.
Plane that has been arranged and people have left their home. Then we are stranded here and you are telling us to thank you for making us to be stranded. Whereas other African countries are already taking their people home.
Oh, South Africa. Oh, my goodness. The South African, black South Africans, those Amazons, they have... South Africa. I told my wife and the kids I don't ever want to see or hear any of you get on a plane and go to South Africa. Forget that, man. I've put a line through that country instead of under it. Now, having said that, let me also say there are many reasons South Africa has come to this point. Xenophobia has existed. Xenophobia is this repulsion, this hatred for other black people. It's not hatred for other foreigners. It's not hatred for white people. It's not hatred for Mexicans or Hispanics or people from Venezuela or from the Maldives. No, honey. Xenophobia is black on black crime, black on black hate. In South Africa, they practice, if you're white, all right. If you're black, step back. It reminds me of in the 1970s, Idi Amin, the callous dictator of Uganda, woke up one morning and said, I don't want these Indians here. They control our economy. They control everything about us. We don't even have access to our own wealth. Let's get rid of these guys. Put a line through their names instead of under them. Idi Amin gave the Indian people of Uganda 90 days to leave Uganda. And when asked, Idi Amin was asked a question by a white British journalist. Mr. Amin, these 90 days that you have given these Indians, what if they stay beyond the 90 days? Do you remember his answer? in his Ugandan accent, he said, really, if that happened, let me tell you, it will be like they are sitting on fire. If one Indian stay here in Uganda beyond the 90 days, I must tell you this, it will be like they are sitting on a real fire. Passive aggressive, boy. I mean, talk about passive aggressive. And he said it so calmly. And it always hurt me that Idi Amin never answered for his crimes. I mean, he died in Saudi Arabia living a posh, lush life, you know. Anyway, my point is, what is happening in South Africa today reminds me of that era. It reminds me of that time period when Ugandan president dictator Idi Amin Dada. I tell you, when I was a kid, there was a movie that came out about Idi Amin. It was called The Rise and Fall of Idi Amin. It used to play at Plaza 3 and Plaza 2. This was a cinema. These Plaza 2, Plaza 3 were cinemas that were located on, I think it was Cha-Cha-Cha Road. That film put the fear of God in us as Zambians. Let me tell you why. Every Zambian that watched that film walked out of the cinema thinking, thank God we have Kenneth Kaunda who loves us. Thank God Kaunda not only loved this country, he loved the Zambian people. I mean, Idi Amin killed hundreds of thousands of his people, hundreds of thousands of them. And we walked out of the cinema with this sense of fear and appreciation for our president. Fear because we thought, what if Kaunda becomes like that one day? What if we just did not kulala, we wake up in a cold sweat and our parents say, wukeni, balatwipai. Thank God we had a president that was not like that. Thank God we have a president like Hakainde Hichilema, who went through torture when he became the president. The UPND were thirsty for blood. The UPND cadres wanted to kill PF. HH said, no, we don't need that. I don't want blood on my hands. Part of the reason I think HH is like that is because of that legacy of Dr. Kenneth Kaunda. It was a very strange time. And I remember walking out of the cinema thinking, thank God we have KK who loves us. Thank God for that. One Zambia, one nation. One nation, one people. Sokone. I remember that. So here it is, South Africa. Boy, I tell you, those South Africans lost their minds, boy. And the reason South Africa is in the mess that it's in now is multifaceted. Aside from the fact that South Africa as a whole is one of the most violent countries on the planet. I mean, can you imagine that between, I think it was the statistics, you can research this, from 1994 till about 2000 and, I think it was 2003, more than 500,000 people have been murdered in South Africa. It just goes to show you how violent that country is. And one of the reasons for this xenophobic fever is, of course, the black South Africans will tell you that, no, these foreigners, they're taking over our jobs, which is true. No, these are foreigners, there are too many illegal foreigners. That's true. And that really tells you something. That tells you that the immigration department in South Africa, they're not doing their job. So the citizens, through organized crime, are carrying out this exercise that is seeing hundreds of thousands of black foreigners leaving South Africa. It means immigration wasn't doing their job. So the South African citizens took it upon themselves. They looked at immigration and said, you jokers are not doing anything. Our country is going to hell in a handbasket, and all you're doing is standing on the sidelines, twiddling your thumbs, holding hands and singing Kumbaya, while this nation is going to hell in a handbasket. So the black South Africans took it upon themselves to eject illegal immigrants. But here's the catch. You have to be black. If you are white and you are illegal in South Africa, oh, that's okay. But if you're Zambian, if you're Congolese, if you're from Nigeria, you're from Ghana, you're from Zimbabwe, honey, we're going to put a line through your name instead of under it. If you're white, it's all right. But honey, if you're black, step back. South Africa. Am I going to South Africa? Never, can't never. Those are Amazulus. Have you seen those Zulus running down the streets over there in Johannesburg, Durban, and soon to be Cape Town, boy, running down the street. Whoa. I mean, I shudder to think, here I am minding my own business, walking down the streets of Johannesburg, and they come down the street, 300, 400, 500 strong black Zulu South Africans, and they're carrying these machetes and reeds and sticks, and they start singing, whoa, and there I am standing in the middle of the street. Just like us here in Zambia, if I see a black South African, I can tell they are black South Africans, just from the way they look, from their countenance and their visage. I can tell this one is from South Africa. I can tell. In the same way I can tell, I can decipher, I can ascertain the origin of those chaps. Even me, where I am, if I'm standing in the middle of the street in the downtown Joburg, and they see me, is from Zambia, that is a Zambian chap. So you not see the face? Proper wapula. Move mboyo, muleteni kuno. Walamu sesangen koko. Ushetu walamu chitambuino. You can keep your South Africa. I'll stay right here in Zambia. See that flag right there? That's my home. As inadequate as it is, that's my home. We may not be a city or a country like New York, but oh, that's my home. I can go to bed at night knowing that's my home right there. When everything crumbles around me and the world seems to be confused and the noise overwhelms me, I know when the dust settles and when the dew dries, that's my home.
We today convened a meeting with the various political parties and various organizations that have been involved in activities or work around matters that relates to foreign nationals or immigration in broadly, because as we deal with the issues, it should have been quite cognizant that it was not only about illegal foreign nationals, but also those who are legal in the country. We engaged with them, not per se to hear from them what are the concerns, but to outline as government what is it that we are doing in relation to issues that relates to immigration, migration in the country, but more zooming in terms of our cluster work in illegal immigration. You'd understand the issue of illegal immigration would be matters that then are within our purview as a cluster, because this will be within the criminal justice system. So we had various organizations that joined us. We've invited all political parties that are represented in Parliament. And then we've organized various organizations, NGOs and all that have been marching, have been raising issues of foreign nationals into the meeting. It was a hybrid because not everybody was able to join us here in Pretoria. In the discussion, we presented the work that we do from the JCPS cluster in terms of from current legislation in present moment, but also legislative reforms that we are working on, both in terms of small businesses, the small business licensing bills that are out, for example, the policies around home affairs, immigration, but also reflected on the legislation or the court or jurisprudence that has affected us or that has led to some of the decisions that would have been. Following that, we looked at the statistics in numbers. In terms of deportation, how many foreign nationals have been deported? What are the highest countries? For example, you'd have Zimbabwe, Malawi, and Mozambique being the highest. But other countries, you do have the numbers. Similarly, we would have looked, so it was statistics, how many we have in terms of our prisons, in terms of those who have been arrested, who are foreign nationals, who are deported from there, or who are remand detainees in the current environment. We would have looked in terms of BMA work, what are the plans, where there are weaknesses, how do we deal with that, but also broadly around law enforcement. So we receive feedback from various organizations about the issue that they do feel that government is not doing enough on the ground to deal with the the challenges. Similarly, they do feel that we needed to turn around the time.
Good morning to you all. Sanbonani. Dumelang. Abshin. Dimacheloni. Lochani. Kuyemwore. Thank you very much for coming out in such great numbers. Madiba would have been very happy to see all of you here. He would have been very happy to see the full diversity of what we South Africans are. He would also have been happy to see the diversity of who we are as a world. For amongst us, there are quite a number of people from other countries. Yesterday was Madiba's birthday. His birthday was being celebrated globally. I saw pictures in London, I saw pictures in New York, I saw pictures in Addis Ababa, I saw pictures in many other places in the Scandinavian countries and all that. So what we are doing today, we are doing in honor of Nelson Mandela. And in many ways, let's see ourselves walking in the footsteps of Nelson Mandela. Every step you lift, every foot or heel you put down, let us be doing it in honor of Madiba, the values that he stood for, the principles that he upheld, and the integrity that he lived by. So today we celebrate him. Yesterday was also a great day. Throughout our country, many people were doing good works. We were in other parts of the country handing out water, opening up water systems, water boreholes that would deliver water to thousands of people around our country. And 67 boreholes, like the modern boreholes, were being opened, representing the 67 years that Nelson Mandela served the community of South Africa. So we are doing this in his honor, and I would like to thank the chairperson of the Nelson Mandela Foundation, Dr. Naledi Pandor, who together with various people in the foundation have organized this. Let's give them a round of applause. I would also like to thank the sponsors. There are a number of sponsors who have supported the holding of this walk and run. We also have various embassies, ambassadors and high commissioners as well, and a number of people in the government system who have also enabled this to happen, including our premier here, Panya Panya Hoi Hoi, who has opened up the streets, and we have our mayor who has given us permission to have the freedom of the streets of Johannesburg today. So thank you very much for being here. Let's go and walk and run and have a lot of fun. Thank you very much.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That was the #1 citizen of the Republic of South Africa, President Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa. Are you ready for the 2026 edition of the Mandela Day Walk and Run, ladies and gentlemen? We'll count you down as we move the list slightly forward.